everybody, and welcome to Top Comics to Pre-Order in a Flash. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our real quick show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. And there's some great ones on this show today, so you can go ahead and start placing your orders. That way you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You can just, you know, get it out of the way, and then in a few weeks when they show up, you'll thank your past self for that.
And if you forgot that you did it, it'll be like an early Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get into this week's books.
We're starting with Timeslide number 1. This is written by Steve Fox and drawn by Ivan Fiorelli. And this is the annual Timeless book that we've been getting for the last several years, but with a new name. And, this is the book that gives us glimpses in as to what's to come in the Marvel Universe. But it's wrapped around a story. And in this one, there's an X-Man from the future that travels to our present, warning about a hyper-advanced foe who's eating his way through time, trying to stop the X gene from ever evolving. And it's going to be up to Cable and Bishop to stop him.
I would love if they just had a book together. Just
Yeah.
Cable and Bishop jump through time. Next up, we have a new one from DC. This is going to be a 12-issue maxi series, The New Gods. And this is really cool. This is going to be written by Ram V, and the art is by Evan Cagle, with guest art on it, this first issue by Jorge Fornes. And this is coming out of the Death of Apocalypse that happened in, or Death of Darkseid that happened in the DC All-In special. That seems like it's going to have ramifications across the DC universe, because now a prophecy has been made that Metron of the New Gods delivers to Highfather, and basically says there's going to be a child that's going to get these powers, and it could spell doom for both Apocalypse and New Genesis. So it's going to involve Scott Free, Mr. Miracle, and Orion, and all of those in this epic, almost biblical scale story that I got to read earlier today and was awesome.
Next, we have Magik number 1. This is a new ongoing series in the From the Ashes line of X-Men books. And Ilyana Rasputin, she's going to strike out on her own with new allies and dark powers against her. There's something ancient that has awakened underneath the ice in Alaska, where she is currently stationed with the X-Men. But unfortunately for that thing, that's Magik's territory now, and it's going to have to deal with her.
Next up, we have Challengers of the Unknown. This new book from DC uses the classic Challengers of the Unknown, teaming up with the Justice League. This is going to be written by Christopher Cantwell, with art by Sean Isaacs, who just got off an amazing run of Green Arrow. And because of the Death of Darkseid, once again, those shockwaves have ripped holes in the very fabric of time and space. And it's going to be up to the Challengers, who are currently kind of the custodians of the Watchtower, teamed up with the Justice League to go and try to shut down these rips that have happened across the universe. But a villain from the Challenger's past lurks just in the shadows. What does this mean for everything? I don't know, but I love the synchronicity between all of the DC books coming out right now, and this one sounds awesome.
Next is Hellhunters number 1. This is a new series from Marvel. This is going to be set in 1944, and it is about a U.S. sergeant named Sal Romero. He parachutes into Nazi-occupied Europe, while a young Nazi there becomes the host for an unspeakable evil. Basically, Ghost Rider, I guess. But in the aftermath of their violent meeting, Romero is reborn as Ghost Rider 44, who sets out not to only take revenge on that on the Nazis, but to save mankind from annihilation. And it's going to guest star a bunch of other Marvel heroes from that time period. You can see them on the cover right there.
Also, maybe some Invader stuff, all of that. Next up, we have Green Lantern, Green Arrow, World's Finest Special number 1. So the World's Finest kind of umbrella is expanding with this one-shot special written by Jeremy Adams and the art by Lucas Mayer and Travis Mercer. And we've got the hard-traveling heroes teamed up once again, set in the not-too-distant past, like a lot of the World's Finest books. The two have found themselves at a crossroads, and the two will have to once again team up if they're going to survive the mysterious bounty hunter known as Deathstroke. So it sounds like maybe it's their first run-in with Deathstroke in early part of his career. Plus, because this is an oversized special, there's a backup story written by Jeremy Adams, who is returning to Flash, which he had an amazing run on not too long ago, this time telling a story of Barry Allen Flash as he races towards a crisis, which, when you talk about Crisis in DC, that only means one thing, and that's some big events. But this is awesome, and I love the ever-expanding world's finest timeline that they're building with these classic heroes.
Next is Deadly Tales of Gunslinger Spawn #1, and this is written by Jimmy Palmiotti. And Gunslinger Spawn's true origin is finally going to be revealed in full in this series. This is set in the past before Gunslinger was pulled into the future, and this is going to unravel his place in the Spawn universe. It's a brutal tale of Old West violence and mayhem.
Very cool, since Jimmy Palmiotti worked on Jonah Hex and all of that. I can't wait for that. And next up, we have a new one from Distillery, You Won't Feel a Thing. This is written by Scott Snyder, who, of course, right now is writing Absolute Batman, and the art is by Jock. And in this, it's about an alien. There's this famous detective. He is a great homicide detective, but he kind of gave up his regular life just to focus on his job. But now we find him in a retirement home. He's older, and he has a brain tumor that is slowly sapping his once keen mind of all its memories. But when a serial killer from a past case rears his ugly head, it's going to be up to this detective to try and piece together the memories that he does have to try to solve this, even though no one else believes that this serial killer is back. So it sounds like a very hard story to read, but a very interesting one, because it does say it's a sober murder mystery exploring the anguish of a man whose own body and mind has turned against him, and the desire to find meaning in one's life before it unravels.
Next, we have Absolute Batman #3. #2 came out this week. We couldn't not talk about this one. And in this one, Batman and Alfred have formed a tentative alliance. But Black Mask also has some new friends, and they're coming to Gotham to wreak absolute havoc. Plus, discover the dark secret that will rock Bruce to his core and make him question everything. So, just if you been reading this series, please don't miss the 3rd issue. Please pre-order this weekend.
Next up, we have G.I. Joe #2. #1 just came out this week. I got a chance to read it earlier today. It was awesome. Finally, great to have all of those miniseries converge in one big book. But, I don't want to spoil too much because it did just come out. But Cobra Commander has some big plans and some big resources, let's say. And in this one, we're going to meet the Valkyries, whose task is to retrieve a new mysterious weapon for Cobra. So seems really, really interesting with the world building in that first issue, but I can't wait to get into the meat of the story with this one. That is it for Top Comics to pre-order in a flash. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, head over to infinityflux.net right now. That is where you do all your pre-orders so you don't miss out on any of these books. Join us for our show on Friday, where we'll be talking about all of these books, their variants, and much, much more. We had to cut back this show because we only talk about 10, but there was so much more.
We had to cut a lot out this time, so please come back on Friday because there's a ton more books.
There's a ton of awesome books that you don't want to miss out on, but go ahead and get your early pre-orders in, and then join us on Friday for a little bit more information. But until next time, see ya.